when inevitably there are challenges or things that happen in a business, because there are always going to be those challenges. Part of it is one, how you're looking for them, or where your focus is on a day-to-day basis. Because if you're focused on all the problems, you're going to see a lot of problems versus, say, focusing on the opportunities or what could be great about a situation. And that's something we can tune our focus in. And the other side of the question I was asking was like, how do you go from like devastation around a situation to a place of responsibility and moving forward, like getting past it? And how do you get there quickly? Because there is this responsibility in a team, but not only just for a team, but also when I'm thinking about our launch club people, like if you expand it out to the influence of all PLF owners, guaranteed there's tons of terrible and challenging and devastating things that are happening within a large community that we have here. I think back to when COVID happened and some of those things that we did around that time to help lead that community through a very, very challenging time. And I think at that time, I remember you saying, like, taking responsibility, not just for yourself, but also for a lot more than just that. And where did you cultivate that mindset to be able to do that? And how do you get to that quickly? Or what advice could you give to entrepreneurs to get to that point of responsibility quickly?
Well, I guess, COVID's a perfect example. We had our team, and then we had our launch club community and our PLF owner community, our mastermind communities. We all have our own story of COVID. But for me, I was actually off in Canada, in British Columbia. I was skiing. I was on a heli skiing trip every day, going on, being taken in helicopters to the top of mountains and skiing down. And that was the week where everything melted down. I was a couple weeks ahead in the whole COVID cycle, because we had Sebastian in our mastermind was someone who gave us a heads up early on that this could be a really big deal, where he actually in mid-February, he had an event that he canceled, a live in-person event that he canceled in mid-February because he was concerned about COVID. And he gave us all a heads up within our mastermind. This is what I think could happen. And it pretty much played out just like he said. So I had a couple weeks of time to think about it ahead of time before everything melted. I guess where I'm at in my life, I've got the gray hairs, right? I'm not a spring chicken. I've got a lot of experience. There's good and bad to being as experienced as me, as old as me, frankly. And one of the good pieces is perspective. And, we talked about this on an earlier episode. It's like, I've been through a lot of things. A lot of things have gone wrong. I've just got a lot of perspective and a lot of history. And to me, like at that moment, right at the beginning of COVID, it felt like so much hysteria going on. There were so many unknowns, but it was clear to me that we as a race, as a human race, we're going to get through it. And business, it was less clear in those early days that we would get through it, but I had an inkling we would. We knew how to do the online thing. We had a virtual team. We had a virtual community. So it just seemed to me like what I needed to do then was keep folks calm and keep them focused. All you had to do is turn on CNBC or CNN or Fox, and there's all the hysteria you could possibly want. And I'm like, we need something beyond hysteria. We need to be calm, and we need to be considered, and we need to have a little longer perspective and realize that we're going to get through this. And it was my responsibility. I've got this team that I love my team. I have a responsibility to show up as an adult, as a leader, and say, we're going to get through this. And this is why we're going to get through this. This is our history. This is what we do. We show up and we solve problems. And then the same thing for our masterminds, and the same thing for our launch club group. I guess it's one of those things that, looking back, I guess I'm a little bit proud of the way I was able to show up. I mean, what was the first thing we did for the team is I sent everyone $500 in cash. It said, this is real. Go buy some groceries, because we don't know how long we're going to be locked up. So here's some cash. Go buy a bunch of groceries and get prepared for this first wave.
I remember also, because this was something you asked me personally to do, since I'm pretty comfortable on the phone, was literally to get I want to say it was kind of a random list of PLF owners, people who are in our community, and not just mastermind people or launch club, but like just owners, people who are in our community, and call them and check in on them. And just, what are people feeling? What are people dealing with? how are they, send them a little bit of love from our community, and also just connect with them and see. And I probably made a few hundred calls over the course of 4 or 5 days a week or something to connect with people. And it was amazing to see that universally everybody had this underlying note of fear. And it was really the uncertainty around the unknown, around not knowing what the future was, how serious this should be taken, what were going to be the long-term impacts of this upon society and people. It was a very unique event in everyone's life, as we all know now looking back on it. But at the time we were disconnected from it. So making the effort to reach out and figure out, like, where are people at right now? What do they actually need? What are people really feeling was, I think, another step of leadership, not just assuming what people needed and not just assuming like, oh, I know the answer. They need this. No, to really take that collaborative effort to not only connect and provide a place for people to feel like we were connected, but also to listen and give them a chance to share what they were feeling so we could try to identify what the next move that is right to do. Yeah, I thought that was a really impactful way to be able to move things forward in a way that was intelligent.
Hey, Launch family, I hope you liked that clip. If you haven't checked this out yet, go to getyouLaunch.com. We have some absolutely free, awesome training on launches that you can get. And we also have some really amazing upcoming episodes with really cool guests that I would hate for you to miss. So make sure you hit that subscribe. It helps grow the channel. And the more subscribers, the bigger the guests we can get. So we're in this together. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.